Welcome back to our Sustainability Asia series. My name is Nick Merritt, a finance partner based in Singapore. I'm delighted this week to be joined by Farmida Bi, a capital markets and Islamic finance partner in our London office and presently chairwoman of our Europe, Middle East and Asia offices. Welcome, Farmida.
Thank you, Nick. Hello.
Farmida, as you know, we've been running this series now for a couple of months, and the uptake from clients on the platforms that we are sending the discussions out on seems quite popular, with over 27,000 views to date. And I think the topics that we're touching on clearly are resonating with the wider business circles. We also, as a business, have been developing our broader responsible business initiative, which I know you've been playing a key role in developing across the business. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Of course. Responsible business covers a whole range of different things. So it covers our energy practice, where our colleagues have been working really hard with clients to move them from fossil fuel energy sources to sustainable sources, and they've been doing that for a long time. So we're dealing with the energy transition, but we're also dealing with the environmental needs of our clients, where they're being required to respond to greater regulatory oversight. It's looking at the human rights issues that, for example, impact companies in their supply chains. So it looks at litigation, for example, when clients are being sued for environmental breaches. So it's just covering the full gamut of our different practices. And that's because issues around sustainability have become increasingly important to society at large, and therefore to our clients, and also, of course, to us as a firm. You know, we as a firm are under an obligation to make sure that we run our business responsibly, and that includes, you know, whether it's our carbon footprint or whether it's our hiring policies to make sure that we are hiring fairly around gender, race, and all the other issues that impact people. So whether it's our own business or the business of our clients, whether it's the advice that we're giving or the world in which we operate in, issues around sustainability are incredibly important for all of us, and of course likely to become more so during the course of this year, when we've all been responding to the global pandemic. The focus on the energy and climate crisis is becoming more and more important, and we are all going through an economic impact that the pandemic has caused, which has resulted in calls for us all to build back better, to build back in a more green, sustainable way. So there are a lot of factors that have come together and have meant that this is the right time for us all, whether it's us as a business or our clients, to be looking at how we can be more sustainable, more resilient, and do business in a better way going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. The sustainability has very quickly become mainstream over the last 12 or 18 months, accelerated in part by the pandemic around us. A lot of the regulation that has been leading the drive towards sustainability, it's probably fair to say, has been instigated out of the EU, with a number of the regulations that they've been bringing out, focusing on achieving the Paris Agreement, achieving net zero and a carbon neutral union by 2050. But Asia obviously has a role to play in this as well. And we're seeing a significant amount of government interest in regulation aligning itself, because of course the problem we're going to have with different rules coming out from different jurisdictions is how do the global organizations manage that. And it was interesting to see in March that the People's Bank of China is collaborating with the EU on trying to align the green taxonomies that China is looking to develop. And indeed, taxonomy is at the forefront of the Monetary Authority of Singapore's discussion at the moment, where only last week its task force on green finance saw taxonomy as one of the key issues to underpinning the development of sustainability from an Asia perspective. But perhaps I could ask you for your thoughts on the role that Asia has to play in this ongoing journey.
Well, I don't think we can achieve what the world needs to do without having Asia fully engaged, both at national and at individual corporate levels. So, you know, it's where the most of the world's population is. It's where the fastest economic growth is happening. And so it is absolutely vital that Asia is fully engaged and that there is a global effort. We can't have individual countries and individual companies setting their own standards, because we're not going to achieve the changes that are needed. So the idea that everybody will come together and hopefully agree what standards need to be applied is good both for sort of humanity as a whole, and as a banking lawyer, for investors in particular. There is a real concern around accountability, around transparency, and setting some of those standards and making sure that everybody is complying with the same standards and are conducting their behavior in the same ways. That's absolutely vital. And I think during the course of this year, particularly as we have the G7 meetings that are coming up, and then working towards COP26 towards the end of the year, if we can have the same standards in Asia, in the EU, and in the US, as well as the rest of the world, we will drive towards the changes that are needed in order to achieve net zero. I think without cooperation and involvement by all the countries of the world, it's going to be a much, much greater challenge. And Asia, of course, as an area that is going through huge amounts of growth, that needs energy, that needs improved consumer spend, is at the heart of that.
Great. Farmida, always a pleasure to speak. Thanks for joining us this week.